Cafe. Anyway. Yes.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
How are you today? It's Mike Matthews. I have a cat sitting on my lap because his name is Rocky and he's
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Happy to be at Cafe Anyway somewhere in Podcastro Valley. It's episode 2557. I'm going to sing for another 10 seconds and that's all I had, so forget it. Hey, Salt and Pepper and their song Push It.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Ain't that an epic song? Ain't that a leader? Ain't that a
Mike's
lovely
Daily
tune with
Podcast.
several movements in it? Pick up on this. That's right. I heard that song. I played that song when it first came out because that's how old I am. And I remember just not even really thinking about the structure of it, but it's mostly samples. There's really no verses. There's like two verses, and then she kind of sings, boy, you really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. It's sort of a Kinks homage. Kinks. And this was in the mid-'80s. But with all the sampling, the cool beat, and the repetitive ha-ish push it. Which is not even... Actually, I'm not even saying it right. It's a ha push it. It's a chorus that invites you to suck air in. In the last podcast, we were talking about sucking air into your body. Breathing. It was called Breathing, was the name of the last podcast. And it feels so good to help yourself breathe more and to do breathing exercises and get that oxygen into your body. Because otherwise you're dead. And otherwise your body's working extra hard. Animals don't seem to have any problems.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Remembering to breathe, but yet we do. We'll go with a podcast picture. Another one from this past weekend. How about we'll do that? That's good. Because you can see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. I was listening to an old podcast that I did 11 years ago. And I was just, wow. I wrote everything out back then. Writing stuff out you would think would make it better, but no, it did not. It was bad. The late great Basil the Boxer, I think he remembers some of those shows that I did back when I was in the triple digits. Oh, wait a minute. I was 3 digits. Now I'm 4 digits with episode 2557. But what is going on? So I think the last podcast I said they had already gotten all the pieces of the balloon that they shot down and they were studying it. They actually, I don't know if that's true yet. I think that's still up in the air, as it were. You cannot talk about this story and not accidentally do a pun. All those news people, they're accidentally doing ridiculous puns and dad jokes about this dang thing. They can't help it. Did you know that California has produced the most Super Bowl players? As we get into the Super Bowl time? Yes. Did you know that, Rocky? That's squirming on my lap. Now he wants to get off my lap. Okay. All right, that's fine. Enjoy yourself here at Cafe Anyway with all the wonderful Podcastro Valley people. Oh, he's stealing my pen. He's knocking it around. Okay. Since the 1966 to 67 Super Bowl season, he just stole my pen. He's run off. California has produced 496 NFL Super Bowl players. To ramp up hometown pride as the Super Bowl draws closer, Being Verified, a people search company, analyzed hometowns that have produced Super Bowl team members since the first Super Bowl on January 15th, 1967. Here are some key takeaways about California. California ranks first out of every state for Super Bowl players and produced 2,333 NFL players overall since that 66 to 67 season. One of them is the well-known Rocky the Cat, who stole my heart and stole first base. Wait a minute. No, wait. That's a baseball term reference. Stole my pen, I meant to say. California has produced 266 Super Bowl winning players, and 2 in 10 NFL players from California have played for a Super Bowl team. Isn't that fascinating? Ben Verified put that up. As in, not the guy Ben, but Bean, as in the past participle present tense version of the verb to be. Is that right? Also today, there is news that there is a new Burger King Whopper jingle available on Spotify right about the time that you and I should never eat at Burger King again. Tesla has raised new car prices as used values sink. Oh, thank you, Tesla. Online used car seller Carvana is having some problems adjusting pricing quickly enough to keep up with the changes from Tesla. And all the people laid off from FedEx recently, now we move back from the non-tech world back to the tech world. Dell, which made the computer I'm recording this on, and maybe even the computer you are using, they are laying off over 6,000 workers, 6,650, or 5% of their workforce, as demand for PCs and laptops has slowed globally. Computer shipments at Dell, computer shipments there were down 37%. I did not know that. Wow. Probably because it was so big during the pandemic. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, and we're in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway,
the Blockbuster Jobs Report. Yes, January had booming employment gains and only a 3.4% unemployment rate. That is a 54-year low. That was announced last week. It apparently has been seen creating high risk of recession this year because the robust job growth could mean that inflation remains elevated longer. The good news was that most of the hiring was in restaurants, hotels, and stores that have grappled with labor shortages. Perhaps you have noticed in your travels. Historically strong job growth and a low unemployment rate have meant rising wages, which in inflationary, it's inflationary as employers compete for a limited supply of workers. It creates inflation. And companies pass their higher labor costs then to the consumers, causing inflation. Last year was the first Super Bowl of the online betting era. Online betting is so big, there is actually a radio station in the Bay Area that all they do is talk about betting, sports betting. And it took over a radio station that was a mainstay, a stalwart, an icon in the Bay Area. They took over these call letters that in San Francisco, these call letters, every time you looked at, oh, who's number one? What radio station is number one in San Francisco? They'd always be at number one. For years, nobody could unseat them. And then things started happening like, well, the way we rate radio stations changed. For the longest time, the way your radio station, your favorite radio station, or how any radio station was rated was by the honor system. Everyone was given a library. Wow, my brain just derailed. Everyone was given a library? Basically, you have a library at your fingertips now with the smartphone. No, it was a diary. It was just a little book. And you were supposed to write in it the radio station that you listened to every day. I think you had it for a week. And this company that was doing the rating would pay you. They'd give you $1 or more. But you had to return the book. I think they enticed you by giving you $1 when they first sent you the book. And then they said, we'll give you another one if you send it back. So people would, of course, not fill it out. They would wait till the very last second and then they go, oh, I want to get that extra $1. They'd fill it all out super fast and throw it in the mail. Well, it would always be the radio station call letters that just sprung to mind, that just whatever was the most readily available. And in certain parts of the country, certain call letters are as prevalent, are as popular as, like, let's say, when you go into a store and they ask you, what do you want to drink? What's the first brand name that pops into your head? That kind of thing. Like, it was always explained, Coke. You wanted to be the Coke of the radio stations. Because people, when they go and they want a soft drink, that's the first thing they think of is that brand. Well, along comes this little device that you clip onto yourself, and it actually records and identifies what radio station is on closest to you. So they are assuming and presuming that you are listening to that station. And then that station, now this is how it works. This little device goes, okay, you're listening to that station. That's the station you listen to. Which scientifically is a lot more reliable than just going, what's the brand that I remember off the top of my head? And thusly, that is now how that station, apparently people were not really listening to that station. And the station with very popular call letters in the Bay Area, it suddenly crashed. Because people were actually listening to good stations in the Bay Area, or better stations, or stations that didn't have quite the name recognition quality, but were still being listened to. So this radio station that crashed now is carrying the sports betting format. Now, Americans went from wagering $44 billion in 2021 to $74 billion, a 70% increase in 2022. Legal sports books are projected to take in over $1 billion in bets, and a 16% increase. That is a 16% increase from last year's total. That would make it the most bet upon sporting event in history. You know the apps that are popular. And there's lots of, like, I guess there's 24 states that allow gambling, not just, and you can gamble on all kinds of things. This year's sports betting is legal in 33 states, actually. And the pitchmen are people like Kevin Hart and Jamie Foxx. FanDuel is making its first ever Super Bowl ad, in which the retired tight end Rob Gronkowski will attempt to kick a field goal live. Back in November, California voters roundly defeated, two ballot propositions that would have legalized online gambling in the state. Yeah, of all places, California, we have some standards. We don't want to all become addicted to gambling like so many people are. It is a horrendous addiction. I know lots of people who have got sucked into the world of online gambling. The nation's second most populous state, Texas, has also stayed off the bandwagon for online gambling. Outside a cafe, anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, look who's here. Hello, Mega Masters, Madame Rootabega. I don't like to gamble. Oh. Do you like the Super Bowl? Yes. Do you like the performances they do during halftime? Yes. Do you like Madonna's new face? No. Madonna has a new face, everybody. I don't know if you saw it. It was plastered all over everything I went to. Every Bing search I did was showing me I didn't want to see Madonna's new face. Why are you showing this to me? Stop it. I was asking for what's the most comfortable toilet paper, and you showed me that. Why? Look who else is here.
Hello, Dave. Mike, this is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, this here is a microphone stand day.
Yeah, microphone stand. Do you know that? Yes, it is. It's all. Wow, I might make a whole album using the sounds I make from accidentally bumping into a microphone stand. That will be a real winner and get more listens than this podcast, but that's okay. Well, next show it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. Let me know what you think about all this stuff going on in our world today. You can call me 510-228-4640. That's area code 510 where we are here in the Bay Area. 228-4640. And with more ways to reach me, or to reach more stuff pertaining to this wonderful podcast, here's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!